And now, Geico's Saving Stories. Russell Burton closed his laptop, having just switched his car insurance to Geico. He didn't think much of it until...
Savings were everywhere. My pockets, wallet, bank accounts. It was like the savings were following me.
Following, indeed. All because of an innocent 15 minutes on Geico.com.
I feel like I'm never alone.
Geico. Spend 15 minutes and 15% or more in savings could be following you.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation. And you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show. Covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. Happy New Year. 2016 is finally upon us. But we got one more Best of 2015 episode to go through. Yes, as I have mentioned for the last 2 weeks, we are wrapping up the 2015. We've been throwing in some Best of 2015 interviews to kind of finish this year off. To help bring back some of the great interviews, some of the great moments on the 110 Nation Sports Show. And for those that have missed them, you get an opportunity to catch some of the great shows that you might have missed. For those that had caught it and forgot about them, like a lot of them played back, getting to them again, it's just been really cool. You get an opportunity to kind of reminisce down memory lane. I got two of them for you tonight. We got... Deanna, and she was not an NFL player, a football player. We brought her on. We brought Shorty into the studio, and we let them have some girls' time and talk about women's football and also the comparison of women's football versus the Legends Football League, formerly known as the Lingerie Football League. Great bits. I joined into the interview partway through, and I get some questions in as well. And then we also brought back Tommy Danger. He is the founder of More Than Just Me, a very, probably one of the most generous guys that I've ever had the opportunity to meet. I got the opportunity to meet him about 2 years, I want to say 2 years ago at this point, maybe 3, but 2 years ago at Bristol Motor Speedway. He was the PR guy for 3M, and he happened to be doing shout-outs he was on the microphone, and if we wanted to shout out to tweet, so we tweeted. Didn't really expect for him to, read out our tweet, but he did, and then wanted to know if he was a radio station. So we came up front, we exchanged information, we talked, and kind of find out he had this project in the works called More Than Just Me. And right away we kicked it off. We ended up help sponsoring that next February, or so, I want to say it was February, early springtime, 5K run down to Florida. And Tommy, he has done some remarkable things to raise money for cystic fibrosis. He has more than just miles, more than just everything that they do, every project that they do, more than just coats, more than just art. It's always more than, because it's more than just me. This man has ran from the East Coast to the West Coast, the whole 3,000 and some odd miles, doing about 20 miles a day. This man has done marathon length races, marathon length runs 7 days straight, 26.2 miles to raise money for cystic fibrosis. He's already tackled 4 of the 7 summits of the world, and he's trying to raise $1 million doing it. They have more than just arts where they let people donate or do art stuff to raise money, more than coats, more than just coats, and people donate coats, a whole bunch of stuff. We've had him on the show probably a good 3-4 times. We had him, also one of the other guys that is part of More Than Just Me, come on the show as well. And great guy, and we love having him on the show. And I thought no better way than to use the last day up and getting the year started off on the right notes. Kind of getting the year off on the right note and kind of finishing. I know we're in 216 now, but this is the last of our 215, so I still look at it as we're finishing up 215 here at the 110 Nation, and Monday is the actual kickoff of 2016 for us. So it's kind of in limbo here. It's kind of a great way to finish the year, but start the year at the same time. You kind of understand what I mean by that. So I figured that was a great way to wrap up this Friday show and get ready for the 2016. Don't forget, Monday morning, not that my school schedule was already slam-packed, full of stuff to do, but my schedule has got a little more hectic. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, the 110 Nation Morning Show is back in full effect. Forward to giving you that hour-long hour-long morning show in the morning. We used to be at 8 o'clock. We're kicking it back off, but we're doing it at 9 o'clock. And then we got, don't forget, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m., the 110 Nation Sports Show. Thursday nights at 9 p.m., we got Racing with Big Sweat. And then, of course, Sunday nights, we got at 9 p.m., we got, what do we got? Oh, we got Midwest Sports Power Hour. That's what we got. We got a nice show planned for you this Sunday night, so looking forward to doing that again and sitting in the studio. We got Sam Edwards joining us back in the studio, back in the back of the 110 Nation. He'll be on Thursday nights with Racing with Big Sweat. Sam Edwards used to be on our Monday night show. He would come on and talk NASCAR with me. Be glad to have him back on the network as well. Tonight, I got a few things I'm going to jump into. I'm going to start off with the first of the best of 2015, and then I will finish the show off with Tommy, the best of 2015. But talk about these bowl games. I hate to say I told you so, but we'll talk about these bowl games, and then I got Week 17 picks to do. Interesting week, so looking forward to talking about them as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to kick this off and get one of the 2 interviews I have picked out for the best of 2015. The best of 2015. Like I said, football player, women's football player. We thought it was cool to have her come on and kind of compare the differences of actual women's football versus the Legends Football League. Like I said, Shorty takes over, and it will start off this interview. I jumped in partway through, but a great, interesting outlook at women's football and the comparisons and how they view things. So, guys, kick back, enjoy the first of the 2 last best of 2015. Like I said, I can't already wait until the end of 2006. We get those last 2 weeks again, and I get an opportunity to do this again and sit here and take a trip down memory lane of all these great interviews that we get to do and all the great guests we have on the show. I know Ms. Lee is already working on seeing what we can do to start getting guests on starting next week. So looking forward to seeing that list and looking forward to having some great guests back on the show. But like I said, without any further delay, let's get into this. First of 2 of our 2015, 2 of our best of 2015. So I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did, and I'll be back on the other side of this.
Hi, thank you. Hello. Sorry, I am very new at this, so coming to yarn. It's okay.
Before, and that was with Mr. CJ. But I want to give you an opportunity to plug in your social media.
I really don't have. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on any of that. I'm on MySpace. I mean, what is it, Facebook? But that's about it. So I'll just plug my team. How's that?
All right. You go ahead and plug your team.
All right. That's the San Diego Surge.com. They're also on Facebook. I am as well under Dina Simmons Guidry. And the WSAfootball.net. That's our Women's Football Alliance. That's our league.
All right. I guess I will start off asking some questions. And I'm sorry, like I said, I'm very new to this. What age did you start playing football?
I actually started playing football in 2005. My dad is a football coach, or he was a football coach, and it started out where football practice was my babysitter. So when I was growing up, back in Decatur, Illinois, I used to go to football practice with him, and that's how I actually learned football. I wanted to play in high school, but my dad having the pull around town that he did, the coach wouldn't allow me to play. So once I got old enough and I could, then I went for it, and in 2005, that was my first year with the LA Amazon.
What team did your dad coach?
He coached, it was a high school team. It was a high school team in Decatur, Illinois called the MacArthur General.
All right, that's cool. Did you play any other sports as a child, or was it just like you just loved football?
I did a lot of sports. So I did gymnastics, cheerleading, cross country, track, basketball. I was in some everything.
Wow. That's
so all around athlete. And then I went on to UCLA. I had a full ride scholarship in track and field. So I competed in track and field from 96 to 2001 there at UCLA. So go Bruins. I'm a Bruin alumni. And then right after college, I competed professionally until 2004. I went to the Olympic trials in 2000 and 2004. Did not make the Olympics, but at least I could say I placed. And right after I got done with track, I started football. I found out that there was actually a girl on my UCLA track team that told me about it. And so I decided to try out. And that year, I began with the LA Amazon. I played with them until 2010. And then in 2011, I played with the San Diego Surge, and that's where I am now.
Hey, this is DJ. I want to step in for a second. How much pressure is it for you to try out for the Olympics? We see the athletes as they prepare themselves, and you get to hear their background and story, but you never get to really hear how tough it is. There we go. I'm sure this got loud. Right? I didn't realize I was still muted. But I'm just curious on how much pressure was on you, and how hard is it to have the opportunity and to make the Olympics? We don't get to hear a lot about the pressure behind it and everything else. You kind of get to hear the success stories, or you kind of get to watch the specials leading up to the Olympics. But what kind of pressure is it, and how stiff is the competition to make Team USA?
Oh my goodness! For track and field, you're talking about, correct?
Yes.
For track and field, it is amazingly difficult. I don't think people actually understand the competition that is out there. I am a triple jumper. Well, I was a triple jumper, and American women, we, for lack of a better word, we suck. When it compared to the rest of the world, we're very far behind. We're very far behind. It's not like the sprinters where you see them in the top three every year in, year out. You hardly ever see any American women triple jumping in the Olympics. And there's a reason, because we're not as developed, we're not as good here. So the actual pressure, there really wasn't any, because there was really, people don't expect you to do much anyway, just because we haven't been in that position. And, of course, we were trying to change that for a while, but we're kind of lacking again now. But training with Bob Kersey. I actually got to train with Bob Kersey and Jackie Joyner-Kersey. I had to work out with her before, and Gail Devers and, Joanna Hayes. I'm an old head now, so I'm sure a lot of these people don't understand those names, but I actually got to train with them. Michelle Perry, Allison Felix, and being around that group of women is amazing. They make you want to train. They make you want to work harder. And so for me, there wasn't that much pressure. The only thing I had was, competing against myself because I was trying to do something that no other American had done before. And it just so happened that I ended up getting hurt right before the 2004 Olympic trials, and that's when I decided to end my track career. But Bobby Kersey is an amazing, amazing coach. He will pull, talent out you never knew you had. He will push you to your extremes, and you'll be better for it.
Now, I'm not going to say that track and field is not a physical sport. That's just I don't want to have that whole thing that's just like Jonathan McNabb saying that race car drivers are not athletes. I don't want to say that it's not a physical sport. But compared to football, it's not quite as physical. When you're comparing yourself,
I said I'll say it for you. Track and field is not a physical sport.
But when you were training and comparing yourself for track and field versus football, which one did you have to push yourself harder? Which one was a little bit harder, maybe harder to get yourself physically prepared for? Out there competing with some of the fastest athletes in the world, or getting out there and preparing yourself to be out there with some of the strongest athletes in the world? Completely different.
You're comparing apples to oranges. My workouts that I had for track, I will never, ever do again. I can honestly say I will never do that again in life because I don't want to. I don't have the desire to put my body or my mind through that. Those were the hardest workouts I have ever done in my life, point blank. But then again, I had a coach like Bobby Kersey who has many athletes under his belt that are Olympians. For football, I played so many different positions. There were so many things I needed to learn as far as technique. And because I started running track when I was like 6 years old. I started playing football, later in life when I was in my 20s. So there was a large learning curve. I needed to learn so much. I needed to catch up, and I'm still catching up because the guys, they start when they're 5, 6 years old, but we don't. Well, now we do, but back then we didn't. So I would say it's completely different workouts, but they both are very challenging. And right now, you can make anything as challenging as you want it to be. And to be the best, especially in football, and something that really isn't known for women to compete in and to be very, very good at, you have to be extremely good to catch people's attention, especially, or to be compared against our male counterparts.
Do you have any plans for the upcoming season or any plans to further your career in the...
Oh, now I think my team got teased. I'm not sure if I'm going to play this year yet. I'm still debating. I'm going to try to get my body prepared and get my body ready to play so that if I decide to play, I'll be ready and in shape. However, I'm not sure quite yet. I'm not 100% sure that I'll play this year.
Is it, I guess now it's time to deep down. Is it harder for your league to compete against the quote-unquote lingerie football?
It's very difficult. They have a lot of the marketing. They're on TV. They're very well known in society. That's one of the biggest questions. That's the first question I get asked when I tell people I play football. First, soccer? No, American football. Oh, the lingerie? No. It's real tackle, football. We play college rules or NFL rules depending on which year, you played in. And we actually play outside. We're full gear. We go at it. And they look surprised. A lot of people know more about the lingerie league or the Legends Football League than they do the WFA or the IWFL. And that has been the biggest challenge, is getting our name out there and also getting from beneath that cloud cover of, lingerie football. It's not just about TNA. It's actually about a sport.
Yes. do you have any hard feelings against the women who play? I mean, I know it's not, I know it's there. Yeah.
I know several women who play, and I have no hard feelings against them. They're doing what they think is best, and they did what they thought was best at that time. It's turned out different than what I think everyone in the beginning had thought it was going to be. We all started, playing football to advance the sport, to advance women's football, to get the word out there that women can play just like the guys can. We started very much like, the women playing basketball before they got backed by the NBA and they became the WNBA. We're trying to get to that point where we're backed also by, a solid foundation, a solid organization that can take us seriously. What happened with the lingerie football is that it became more of entertainment than actually advancing the sport. And I think that's where a lot of the competition and all the ill feelings come from.
All right. So do you guys feel like they take away from the legitimacy of football? I mean, kids are running around with their, the butt cheek tats hanging out. I mean,
it has come to that. It does now, yes, absolutely. When we first started out, the problem that a lot of the, I'll call them tackle football players, had was that they got turned away, not because of their lack of skill, but because they didn't look a certain way. And we're not talking about 500-pound girls that are ugly. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about owners or coaches saying that, no, they don't want the real football players playing because they may hurt the girls, or that they don't look a certain way to play on their team, which was crazy. We were like, okay, this is supposed to be women's football, not a beauty pageant. Even see the guys, the guys don't go out there and get judged by, how big their biceps are and what their profile looks like. They have to go out there and run the 40, and they have to do cone drills. They're based off their position is based off their skill. And that became not the case with the LFL. Along with that, I mean, you've seen the uniforms. There's no way, I mean, what I say all the time is that you can't sit up there and say, okay, we have an NBA team, but we're only going to allow people who are 5'10" and under, and we're going to have you guys play in flip-flops. That wouldn't make any sense. It takes away from the game. And their uniforms and what they're doing to not include everyone that's actually athletic enough to play changes the game. And once the game is changed, it's no longer about furthering women's football. It's just about entertainment and TNA.
Now, you brought up the fact that the women's basketball and the NBA backs them up. Now we got the WNBA, and now of course we've seen the same thing with the NHL with the NWHL or however the letters go for the women's NHL league that they have now. How close do you think that the women's football league is getting some kind of backing or enough backing that it can become more on a bigger stage and be more recognized as professional sport versus just a bunch of ladies out there playing football?
I don't think we're close, but however close we are, we're not close enough. Nowhere near close enough. In 2012, when the San Diego Surge, when we won the championship, we played on Heinz Field. We played where the Steelers play. That was the closest we ever got. We were, on TV. It was ESPN2. It was broadcasted. It was great. We had one guy who was, who backed us, and he played in the NFL. And since then, there really hasn't been much. There hasn't been anything. And so the players themselves, we need to do something, not just the league, but the players themselves. We need to up our game. We need to get better. We have to be better than what people expect. We have to have a wow factor and not showing TNA. That's not a wow factor. We need to step our game up as far as our skill, as far as our marketing, as far as our organization, and we need to come together and we need to unite. There's too many teams spread out There's only 2 leagues, but honestly, that may be too much at this time as well. We need to come up with something in which we can have the NFL or organization that's strong enough to back us, to market us, to, put us out there so that we're able to be like the WNBA,
Now, I'm gonna let the truth be told, and Miss Lee's probably gonna cuss me out here in a second. The reason why Miss Shorty was supposed to do the most of this interview is I'm a fan of the LFL. I don't, but I'm also not the typical guy. I don't watch it because of the fact that they're running around in basically a bathing suit. I can appreciate the fact that how hard they hit each other. I could do away with the little dancing stuff and some of the stuff that goes on in there, and don't get me wrong, but then again, you get the same thing with the guys in arena football. There's a little too much song and dance that goes with it, but I can appreciate the fact that they are not wearing a lot, and as hard as they hit each other, especially watching females do it. Yes, if I watched 2 guys out there playing 7-on-7, tackling each other, I wouldn't think much of it. But I have learned to appreciate more and more as women's sports has become the front center and more of attention, and we're getting the opportunity to see how talented and how athletic females have been all this time, just really didn't have the opportunity. And yes, it's not quite to the same level of what you guys are playing with the full contact and the full pass, and it's obviously not as physical because there's a lot of divas to it. But I do appreciate the fact that they go all out when they're tackling each other, wearing next to nothing. I can only imagine, with being a female's body, you don't have the bone structure, the muscle structure, how much that's got to hurt when you're being tackled basically in a bathing suit. So I do get to kind of appreciate that as well in that aspect. That's kind of why I was kind of restricted a little bit to how much I was supposed to talk, because I kind of walk a fine line on 2 different types of football.
Now, there are some very good athletes in the LFL. Like I said, I played with a few of them. However, when you don't have the best out there, if they're out there to the world, they're being marketed to the world as, this is what women's football is about, that's when there's a problem. That's not what women's football is about. Those aren't hard hits. And of course, because most of America sees what's on TV, which is with the LFL, they're like, these girls have nothing on. No, they hit hard. No, let me show you what hitting hard is. I can show you what hitting hard is. A lot of people that play the tackle football can show you what real hitting hard is. And I'm not downing the players of the LFL at all. Like I said, I know several of them, and they do have athletic ability. But when you sit up here and you're watching, Pop Warner, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a great game for little kids. It's a great game for women wearing nothing. But you put real athletes, I'm not saying they're not real athletes, but you put a whole bunch of athletes, okay, and we're talking about a lot, 1,600, okay, we're talking about a lot of athletes. Athletes in real gear on a real field playing real football, okay, and like I said, the reason why I don't call it real football is because they're in nothing. You're not going to catch your NFL guys going all out in Speedos and a bike helmet. It changes the game. But in our field, you're going to go all out. You're going to all out, you're going to have the hits, you're going to have the throws, and you're going to have a lot more talent. The talent pool is greater there. You see what I'm saying? And, again, I'm not downing the LFL. I'm not downing the athletes there. But it's completely different. And what we need to do is we need to market ourselves in tackle football so that America sees, this isn't what women's football is about. Because right now, most of the guys aren't like you. They don't see both sides. All they see is TNA. And they're looking for the wardrobe malfunctions and the stage fights. Like, that's what they want. That's entertainment. But we're trying to further the actual sport. We're trying to advance the actual sport of women's football. If they look, women can pass, they can throw. Our numbers are just as good as the guys. We can play real football just like the guys play real football. And there's lots of women that are not lesbian. There's a big stereotype that all the women playing tackle football are lesbians. No. They're straight, very good-looking female players that play tackle football. And they choose not to play lingerie football because of what it says to not only America but our children, our little girls.
What do you think the women's football league needs to do differently to market different? I mean, honestly, until we had the opportunity to have Kenny Martin and his wife that played for the San Diego Surge, and we had Benji on the show, and it seems like we might have had one other female. I knew nothing about this women's football league and didn't realize how many teams. It's a pretty big league, and there's a lot of women out there playing. What do you feel that they need to do differently to help market it or make it more marketable so more people even are aware of this league and all the females out there playing this sport and playing it at the physical level they're playing?
Well, that's one thing. Well, that's what we need to figure out for sure. I mean, the obvious answer is, well, we obviously need to get the word out more. So we need to be out in the community. We need to, I would say, do what the Lingerie Football League does. Do what, the women's basketball players did before they got picked up. Do whatever they did to put themselves out there so it looks appealing to America, so people know that it's there. I still run into people. I've been playing for 10 years, off and on for 8, but off and on for 10 years, 8 years total. And there's still people that come up to me and are like, oh, I didn't even know it existed. So first of all, we need to let people know they exist. How we do that? I mean, LFL has TV. That's amazing. We don't have that luxury, not right now. But we need to put something in place. And what that is, I don't know. If I knew, then we would probably be out there already. But I think that's what a lot of players and a lot of owners and, Lisa King, I think that's what they're working on, so that we are on that scale of the LFL. Because, honestly, if you don't know we even exist, then really the LFL is your only outlet to women's football. And you can't fault the LFL for that. They have wonderful marketing. They're out there. People know about them. You can't fault them for that. If anything, you should learn from it and do what they're doing without the TNA.
How do you and your teammates handle the comparison between the two?
It can get quite intense sometimes. Some of the debates that are held, whether it's over social media or whether it's, in person, can get quite testy. For the most part, most of us know a couple of players that play for the LFL, so it's a fine line. It's kind of like we have our views, you have your views, you do what you need to do, we'll do what we need to do, and we'll just agree to disagree on whatever it is. However, there are some people that completely make their point known that what the LFL is doing is wrong, and there's some players in the LFL that say, what we're trying to do is we are trying to advance women's sports. It's just that we're doing it this way. This is what catches people's attention. So there's always going to be a disagreement. There's always going to be an argument. The fact of the matter is that it's big enough. The sport is big enough for both. That's the fact of the matter. The thing is that we need to catch up. We being women's tackle football, we need to catch up. We need to do something different so that we have a different outcome. Otherwise, we're going to die.
Well, Dina, I definitely wanted to thank you for your perspective of it all. And I hope that I walked the line that Ms. Lee was wanting me to walk. Like I said, we've had other, the coaches, Kenny Martin, one of the coaches, and some of the other ladies all from the team. I have a lot of respect for any female athlete out there. I think it takes a lot for the women to get out there and do a sport that has been, mainly known for guys to do and play at the level that you guys get to play at. And the WNBA has obviously established itself, and the NHL, the Women's League now. Obviously, we're getting a lot more people out there realizing that, females can play the sports just as well as guys, and some of them can play better than, the guys. And it's really cool to see this continue to grow and give us an opportunity to not only see, it being equal, but more the fact that we get to see athletes truly show off their gift that we never would have seen before. And, and I honestly believe the ladies in sports right now kind of help pioneer this movement, because not only are they doing it, but they're showing us how athletically gifted they are and proving they can be out there and making it easier for the younger generations, my kids and my kids' kids, as they get older, my daughter or granddaughter, have an opportunity that they might not have had if it wouldn't have been for athletes like yourself and the other ladies out there playing, the WNBA or hockey or Danica and NASCAR and the other ladies in the Women's Football League, that we possibly wouldn't have our kids out there be able to do this. But now it's more, and I hate to use this word, but now it's more accepted. And it should be that way. We always should have had this opportunity where the females should always have this opportunity to kind of display their athletic abilities and it be more of more of a common thing instead of now it's being accepted. So I definitely want to thank you for coming on and joining us and kind of bringing that perspective of the Women's Football League up front and center to us.
You did a great job walking the line. Thank you for having me. I had a great time. And hopefully maybe one day, you never know, maybe we can, the LFL and the WFA and the IWSL, maybe we can all get together and do some marketing together.
As you can tell why, that was one of the reasons why I picked this one to be part of our Best of 2015 as got an opportunity to, I don't know, there for a minute it was almost like I was being schooled on some of the stuff she was saying. I don't think she took too likely that I appreciate the hard hits with the next to nothing on. And she quickly put me in my place talking about those ain't hard hits. I'll show you some hard hits. But great guest. I love having her on. I would love to I would love for us to be able to have a women's football league and give us something in the off season, such as the WNBA does, and such as the NWHL does, and it's different. And I've always said this, and I firmly believe this statement that you might not get the same. Well, there's not might not. You're not going to get the same talent level as you do watching the male sports. It's just because we're athletic, we're genetically built differently. We're built with the bone structures and the muscle structures and everything else. And I'm not saying females are not talented by any stretch of the imagination. You're not going to see a 360 dunk or a windmill dunk or all this other stuff. You're not going to see someone put up a shooting display like Steph Curry. You're not going to have a LeBron James. I mean, you're just not. But with that being said, I also full-heartedly believe that women put more heart and more into playing the sport than guys do. And you can see that by what you see on the court, what you see on the ice, what you see on the field. These women are all out. I tell them all the time, I have really no interest in soccer, period. But if I'm going to watch soccer, it's going to be the women's sport, women's team, and it is going to, and I know a lot we got to do with being Alex Morgan and Hope Solo, very, very lovely to watch. But they play with hearts. You have, you can't help yourself but to get wrapped up in women's soccer and pull for these ladies and get wrapped up into it all. You can't. There's no doubt, these women give it the raw. Guys, they sign a contract, and guys that are athletically gifted, but 9 out of 10 times there ain't no heart. If there was heart, we wouldn't see the flopping that we see, and we wouldn't see some of the stuff we see in each of these sports that shows pure, that there's no heart there. It's just about being in the league and making that check. So that was one of my final two best of 2015. Can't wait to play the second one here in just a little bit. Tommy Danger, founder of More Than Just Me. Looking forward to doing that. But before we get into that, we got some things we got to knock out, some topics I want to talk about as we wrap up the 2015 here officially at the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. Bowl games. We've had quite a few of them over the last couple of days, and golly gee willikers, I think on just about every level I can officially say I told you so. where do I begin with the I told you so's? Well, we start with the fact that Alabama kicked the crap out of Michigan State, which we all knew that was coming. I had picked Alabama to win it, so I picked it to be Alabama and Clemson. I still stand by my first pick with Alabama being the winners this year, the national champions. I would not be surprised. Clemson, I don't know. I have a lot of trouble putting a lot of weight into an Oklahoma team that lost to Texas. So I can't necessarily feel confident in Clemson beating over Oklahoma because Oklahoma, to me, was not that great of a team. I don't care what the record said. You lost to Texas. You played in the Big 12. That is what it is. So no surprise on Clemson winning. No surprise on Alabama winning. No surprise that we either had a bunch of games that, nobody cared about, and you can see that from the attendance. And then we talked about why not have 15 meaningful bowl games, sprinkled in some of the meaningless. So how many bowl games there is now, just say there's 20. Well, 15 of them get locked up in the playoff system. And that leaves you 5 meaningless bowl games that nobody really cares about to kind of get you fixed in during the week or whatever. And instead of having this bunch of meaningless bowl games and then your and 2 system, I can't call it a playoff system. I'm sorry, but 2 additional games, it is not a playoff system. It just, each team had one more game on their schedule before the actual national title. That's all that was. I know people out there lobbying for 6, 8. I want a 16. I want them to use the full 4 weeks that we have off from when the college season ends, the end of November, to bowl games. The real bowl games don't play until the end of December. So in the beginning of January. So let's get a full 16 roster. I don't care. I did a scenario where they had nobody in the bye week. Like I said, I wouldn't even mind them having the top 4 teams get a bye in the first week. It would still all play out the same. But all I saw all week was either teams winning, that no surprise, really no surprise at all. I don't think there was actually honestly an upset really anywhere. Maybe the closest one is Mississippi State over 10th ranked. I believe that was Carolina was 10th ranked. So no, I don't honestly think there was really any upsets. At least not worth talking. So we didn't have really any upsets. We got the 2 teams in the national title game that we assumed we was going to have in the national title game. And we had horrible attendance like we expected because you had a bunch of nobodies playing. And we had a bunch of blowouts, which is to be expected when you have lopsided games and a bunch of nobodies. I mean, when you have a 5-7 Minnesota team getting a bowl bid, and even with a win, still was not even a 500, then it kind of tells you that your system is not putting the best product out there. And obviously there needs to be a lot of changes. That would eliminate a lot of this 5-7, 6-6, all these garbage teams, even 7-6. I'm sorry, but you to be awarded a bowl game, you should be winning at least 75% of your games. I mean, come on, why should you be rewarded with anything less than 75%? Let alone have less than a 500 record. I mean, that just absolutely positively makes no sense to me. Some interesting game. Well, I'm not going to say interesting games because none of them were even really interesting today. Even my Ohio State Buckeyes, I mean, yeah, they let the highly overrated Notre Dame Fighting Irish get it within 7 points at one point. They still won by 16 points. And why are you going to say Notre Dame's overrated? The only reason Notre Dame is even in the spotlight is because they ran it about 3 years ago. They went undefeated. You remember that season. Mateo made up his fake girlfriend, and they had nobody all year long that they played, and the number 2 team didn't get to play in the bowl game, so number 3 team actually got to be in the bowl game. Yeah, that year, when Ohio State was on the bowl ban, So the third-ranked Alabama plays in the bowl game that Ohio State was supposed to play in, that Alabama kicked Notre Dame's butt because Notre Dame finally had to play somebody, and they couldn't, slide their way into a national title. They actually had to play somebody. And, I mean, in all actuality, it should have been Ohio State and Alabama that regardless of Notre Dame had ran the table and was undefeated up to that point, they played nobody. And it was garbage that they were in the national title game, and Alabama proved that they were garbage and they should not have been in the national title game. But ever since that year, they've been in the spotlight. Not that, and them not having a football alliance with any conference obviously keeps it in the spotlight too. Doesn't mean they're deserving of all this national attention or being as ranked as high as they are, because they've not really done anything. That was probably the closest, maybe most interesting game. I mean, we watched 6th-ranked Stanford prove my point that Iowa was never battle-tested, and the only two times that they played anybody, Michigan State and Stanford, they get beat. Yes, granted, they kept Michigan State to a closer game, like 16-13, but Stanford just walked all over them, 45-16 today. Not a shocker. I think the only people that might have been shocked, and that's just because they're fans and not because if they used their brains, they would have really known better, is probably the Hawkeye fans. But no surprise to anybody that had 2 cents and had any kind of common sense at all. Really. And so McCaffrey, I'm still not understanding how he did not win the Heisman Trophy, other than the fact that maybe because they're not in the playoff system. I'm not a fan of the Heisman Trophy award anyway, because it's just a popularity concept. It's not really something that, with the conferences not being at the same level. Sorry, but the SEC and the Big Ten, and then there's a dramatic fall off. In any other conference, your competition level gets lower and lower. And so how do you compare players? How can you compare someone that plays in a Big Ten schedule to someone that plays in the ACC schedule or a Big 12 schedule or a Pac-12 schedule or a MAC schedule or a WAC schedule or any of the rest of these conferences? The same with the SEC. You can't, because the talent level that comes out of the SEC and the Big Ten by far passes anything that comes out of any other conference. And so really the Heisman Trophy Award is really a meaningless piece of metal to me, and a lot of records. But McCaffrey in the bowl game today had 368 all-purpose yards, set a new Rose Bowl record. The only reason that record holds a little bit to me, it's a bowl game. You had 2 highly ranked teams, 5th-ranked and a 6th-ranked team. The Rose Bowl has always had high-ranked teams, so, I mean, for someone to shatter an all-purpose record in a bowl game that has always been one of the prestigious, this is not the Doohickey Bowl or the bank of your choice of bowl, but this is the Rose Bowl. This is the Roses. National titles have been decided from this bowl. That means that record holds a little bit more weight to me than other records. But there's a lot of records in college football that I do not acknowledge. I'm sorry, but 400 yards, rushing yards in a game means nothing to me. It just means you played a garbage team. That means that shows you how lopsided the conference is. If we ever had a running back in the NFL run for 400 yards, then I might hold a little bit more weight to Melvin Gordon's record or anybody else's record. But we don't have that in the NFL because it's more balanced. Sorry, I know it's hard because you got 200 and some odd schools out there, and you got scholarships and everything else that plays into factor why everything is so lopsided and talent so spread and teams are just not as equal as others. I understand that, but to have records and try to make a big deal about this record or that record, unless it's a prestigious bowl or something, and we know the best of the best is played there. I don't care about any other record. I don't care who's throwing the most passing yards in a single game. I don't care who's got the most rushing yards in a single game. I don't care, because those to me honestly are meaningless gibberish. Honestly, Michigan over Florida. Florida's been garbage. Michigan up and down, so really not surprised that Michigan waxed the Florida Gators 41-7. Ohio State, like I said, they were over Notre Dame, highly overranked Notre Dame, 44-28. Of course, me being a Buckeye fan, I also enjoyed watching it. But Joey Bosa left the game early, was ejected for targeting. Yes, I think he should have been penalized, and there should have been a penalty. And I just don't like the whole targeting, getting kicked out thing. I know it's his last game, so it would be hard to have some kind of, suspension or I'm not going to say suspension. I don't think that's even right. But the NFL, if it's a helmet-to-helmet contact, it's usually a flag and a fine. Obviously, you're not going to fine somebody and something, they got to figure out something better. But you have a player that goes helmet-to-helmet, they should not automatically be ejected. It doesn't happen in the NFL unless it is, obviously blatant. And I don't even know the last time a player was actually ejected from a helmet-to-helmet hit. Usually it's a 15-yard penalty, and they'll get a phone call from the NFL saying, hey, you owe us this much money for your hit. And that's kind of the extent of it. So I'm not a big fan of the rule. Younger brother Nick Bosa said he's going to finish what Joey started. So I know Ohio State Buckeye fans are excited about that. I tell you what, Urban Meyer, 50-4 since Ohio taking over Ohio State. That's some great stuff. And with his win, I think that puts him second all-time bowls with a phenomenal record. I want to say 9-2 or something. Just doing his thing, Urban Meyer. I kind of appreciate that. Tennessee over Northwestern, that might have been some people's idea of possible upset. I don't look at it as an upset. Tennessee was thought more highly of the beginning of the year, and the first week, I mentioned wherever they played, they allowed 500 all-purpose yards, and if Tennessee don't fix this problem, even with that win, it's going to come back and get them. And, of course, they got unranked and everything else. But Northwestern is one of those teams that it's still kind of uncertain. 16th and 20th is about where they are. And they were ranked 13th. So, they were ranked maybe a little bit higher than they should have been. And this loss to Tennessee, obviously, will probably back down to about 20th where they belong at. I just don't think Northwestern is there yet. They are a middle of the top 25 kind of team, but they're not the top 12 of the pack. They're not, maybe even not the top 13 of the pack. So really, the 45-6 win. I know some people are going to throw out there, well, Mr. C.J. Schwartz, you said there was really no upset. I don't look at that as an upset. I look at it as Tennessee didn't have their stuff together, and they finally got some things figured out. And like I said, they were ranked pretty decent to go into the season. So they were at least in the top 25. So they were at least thought of being in the top 25 of teams. Defense had to start shutting things down, and adjustments had to be made. California over Air Force, 55-36. No surprise there. Baylor over Carolina, 49-38. Not really a surprise, even though Baylor was highly overranked all year long, and it was really ridiculous that them and TCU and Oklahoma State were even in the conversation, and people upset, well, these undefeated teams are not even into the playoff. Well, there's a reason why. You played nobody until the end of the year, and then when y'all played ranked teams, y'all lost. That was why nobody took you serious and put you in the top four. And so some people can look at it because of the season that North Carolina has had is maybe a upset, but, I mean, it's North Carolina, and you're playing a bunch of ACC teams. There's really no weight there. What, you got Duke that you play? Big freaking whoopsie-doo. I've never understood why people keep making a big deal about Duke. Just because all of a sudden they don't lose all the time, they actually win some games, doesn't make them that good of a team. They've not really beat anybody. It's easy to beat up on the ACC. If you can put a football team out there that has any kind of common sense, you could do good in the ACC. Year in and year out, the only two teams that traditionally do any good is Clemson and Florida State. The rest of them are kind of hit and miss, and it's really bounced around whether the other teams are doing good. I mean, Florida State went 3 or 4 losses this year. Not the best of years. Clemson, the last 3 years, I would say that they are honestly the best team out of the ACC. But the rest of the ACC, like I said there, it's hard. It's hit and miss, and most of it is missed. And so, even though Carolina managed to run themselves up to the top 10, a lot of that's got to do with the whole scheduling thing and the padding of the schedule. And I know it's not, they necessarily did it on purpose. You just play in a conference that most of the teams you play in, most of the schools you play in that conference, because of the school you're in or the conference you're in, is padded. And so, that is what that is. Nevada over Colorado State 28-23, another one of the games that really just nobody cared about. LSU over Texas Tech 56-27, no big surprise, lopsided win there. Auburn over Memphis. Granted, Auburn was not the team that people ranked at the beginning of the year. I don't know what they were thinking. But much better than Memphis, 31-10, so the lopsided win there, not surprised. Mississippi State 51-28 over North Carolina State, really no surprise there. Louisville, Texas A&M, close battle. Both of them closely resemble each other, the way they've been over the last few years, ups and downs. So Louisville 27-21 over Texas A&M, really not surprised there. Wisconsin was ranked, fell out of the rankings. USC, same, has been up and down, just got back in the top 25, so at a close 23-21. Wisconsin win, really not a surprise, all the fact that it was an actual close game, or the fact that they won. Houston over Florida State. Houston's been higher ranked than that. Florida State's been all over the place. It just really ain't looked good at all consistently this year. Houston 38-24 over Florida State, really not a big surprise there as well. And then we've already talked about the two main games. Tomorrow we got Penn State and Georgia. Two programs that have had ups and downs. I mean, when Ohio State played Penn State, they were 5-1, and it looked like they could make a run up into the top 25, and just things fell apart. Georgia kind of the same way. They've had glimpses throughout the year that there's a possibility that we could be something and be in the top 25, and then the next week they show up and they don't. So. Kind of here or there on that one. Kansas State and Arkansas. I want Kansas State to win just because the Arkansas coach ran his mouth about the Big Ten schedule, and it was funny to me because Arkansas just lost and lost and lost, and they were losing to nobodies like Toledo's and stuff. So I was the one kind of Kansas State was a game nobody cares about. You might have some viewership because Arkansas Razorbacks kind of a well-known school, and I mean it has got some history behind it, but nobody really cares about that game. Oregon and TCU, two teams that have never really done anything yet managed to still stay in the top 15 for whatever reason and have a really lousy schedule. Should be, I don't know if it's going to be close. I just, that 15th ranked Oregon, I think that's generous. As much as I have spoke on TCU being overrated, and there's no surprise and really no shock that they fell out of the top four. They are. I think they're a little much better than the Oregon team, and I wouldn't be surprised if TCU runs the score up on them. West Virginia and Arizona State, I don't think anybody will tune that game in as well. Oh, my goodness. Things that I should not be allowed to do on the air. But I do them anyway. On the sports sheet. Snap. For our Sunday night Midwest Power Hour, Fourth Power Hour show, we got Zach Dom talk Chili Bowl racing in the Midwest and his first trip racing in New Zealand, and Jeff Swindell to talking Chili Bowl and the Swindell Bleeders. So make sure you guys tune in and check that out. Sunday night. Looking forward to doing that. Like I said, we got two of our best of 2015. This is the last one right here. The last one we're doing, for those that missed last week or missed beginning of this week or even missed earlier in the show, what we've been doing for the final 2 weeks is we've been throwing in some interviews that we've had in 2015 to kind of either reminisce or for those that didn't catch the show earlier in the year, get a chance to hear it. Well, whatever the purpose is, we wanted to do this to kind of wrap up some of the greater moments of the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network in 2015. So this is the last one we're doing. And Monday, like I said, we got the 110 Nation Morning Show back in full effect at 9 a.m. We will go back to all live Sunday night, and hopefully we'll be getting some guests lined up. Don't forget, you can catch us on Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and the I-95 Sports Network. So any way possible that we can make it so you can get a hold of us, check out the show. We've been trying to do that. So make sure that you guys check that out. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow 110 Nation at 110 Nation. You can check out my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can check out the 110 Nation's fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our website, www.the110nation.com, and check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Well, let's go ahead and get the last of the best of 2015. Like I said, we got Tommy Danger, who will be in this interview, owns or founded More Than Just Me, a great foundation that raises money for cystic fibrosis. Some of the things that he has done has just wowed me. Like I said, he's ran from coast to coast the full 3,000 or whatever miles, running about 20 miles a day until he got it accomplished. He ran marathon length runs 7 days straight for 26.2 miles to raise money for cystic fibrosis. He's climbed 4 of the 7 summits of the world. Their goal is to hit all 7 to raise like $1 million for cystic fibrosis. There's a lot of things that they do, and we're glad that we've been able to have them on the show, Tommy and some of the other staff, multiple times. Also glad we've been able to help sponsor some of their stuff, and I'm glad that we've been able to form this relationship with Tommy Danger and More Than Just Me. Looking forward to having them back on in 2016 to see what's going on and see what else they are doing and what else we could possibly get involved with. So without any further delay, the last of the best of 2015. We'll come back on the other side of that. I got my NFL picks and how you doing tonight, Tommy?
I am doing great. And even though it is night to you, it is still early evening to me up here.
What time is it? You're in Alaska, right?
Yeah, it's just after 5:30 p.m. So of course the sun is still out.
Not too bad.
Yeah, the fiance's not quite off of work yet, kind of thing. So it's kind of nice to be in the sunshine and enjoying the summertime.
I got to be honest, that is one of the things that is on my bucket list. Before I put underneath the ground, I got to see Alaska first. There's something about that state that has always had me wanting to go. That was the state that I did for my 5th grade report. We had to pick a state. I picked Alaska, and it has always been a state that I want to visit, and I'm bound to determine before it's all said and done. I'm going to be stepping in that state one day, and if it's only for one day, I'm going to step in that state one day.
Well, you know what? When you make it up here, you can always get a hold of me. I doubt I'll still be living up here as I'm looking even to move south by the end of the year. But when you get a hold of me, I'll tell you the places to go. Don't take a cruise. Just get a hold of Tommy Danger, and I will tell you the places to go, the things to see, and what to enjoy and what to eat while you're up here.
There you go. Talk a little bit about what you got going on right now. I want to give you an opportunity before we get started. Just in case I forget afterwards, I probably won't. I want you to go plug More Than Just Me, the site, any social media, anything that you want to put out there. That way people that are listening to the show can also help get involved with what you have going on.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's the More Than Just Me Foundation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. What that more or less means is that we're an official nonprofit. A lot of the stuff that we do out of literally the kindness of our hearts and whatnot, and to see the world be a better place. one of the greatest places that you can go is to our website, which is ntjm.org. And what a lot of people are like, did you say in or in? Just think of the first letter of each word of the foundation of More Than Just Me, ntjm.org. And if you go there, it's awesome because we just released a new website a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I feel like time's flying by. But we got all kinds of stuff on there. We have all of our video teasers from the mountains that we've climbed so far. We have our staff on there. We have our athletes. We have upcoming events. We got amazing photography on there and our social media, which on social media you can follow us on Facebook with More Than Just Me. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram as well. And if you go on our website, you'll be able to read some of the blogs that we've been posting, whether it's with our adventures or stories of causes that we're helping with around the world. But that's one of the best ways with this foundation because our staff is based all over the country. I mean, we have 4 staff that live in North Carolina. I live up in Alaska. We got some in Florida, New Jersey, Michigan. So we're literally spread all over the place, and to be able to take all these staff when you don't get to see them every single day and bring them together and have them work on these different events or projects or causes and have them do it in the last 2 years, we've grown tenfold. So it's been absolutely amazing. You guys have all kind of seen it from the beginning as well. You've seen since the run, like how it's grown and grown, and now it's just becoming something literally worldwide where we're trying to help thousands and millions of people every day, very least to smile and just to kind of spread love and not to get too deep into it, but that's kind of what we're about. Of course, we want to find a cure for cystic fibrosis and pediatric cancer. Of course, we want to help every single homeless person in the world. Of course, we want to help all of our orphans, over 200 million of them across the world. But, the very least, we want to see the people smile. We want them to realize that no matter how low they feel or where they feel in life or wherever they're at, that there's someone out there that loves them. And the very least, that's one of us, if not all of our staff. A lot of people get scared of that big word, love, and they almost kind of sometimes find it creepy. But in reality, if you think about it, we need to love each other, especially with all the hate going around in the world. We need to love each other and come together. That way we can bring more happiness and love and cures and just all around together a better world.
Now, Miss Lee just informed me that you have someone else that's called in. I'm going to go ahead and plug them in as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug them in now. They're on the show live. But I want to say something real quick before you introduce the caller and you kind of let us know who the caller is and everything. But like I told the listeners, I had the opportunity to meet you back in, I want to say it was fall of 2013. I can't remember the first race was, September, August, whatever. And it's funny to me because when I see you and remember you up there on the 3M stage, you see this long-haired guy that looks like he's just up there to have fun and enjoy the job. But then you get to see this whole other side, someone that cares so deeply about something that is grown to be so important to so many people. And it's just crazy to visualize somebody that just looks like they were up there just a weekend job having fun. And all it was like to be up there with a beer just cutting up. I mean, you weren't, but that's just, the kind of atmosphere it was for Bristol Motor Speedway and everything. Then you look at you and you follow what you've done, and it's just like, would not picture this person doing everything. And I know it's being stereotypical and just going off a look, but I get the same thing. A lot of people look at me like, you just look like this angry person. It's blah, 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 blah. But just to see you up on the stage and start out having a good time, but to know the whole other side of you, the side that is heart-filled and it is doing everything you're doing, it's like a 180 when you just put these two pictures side by side.
Well, you got work and everything like that. And when you're at NASCAR, when I used to MC for these different clients, it's all about making that client happy. Whatever they want, as long as it's reasonable, you get it done, you promote their product. But, what's kind of cool, when I used to do, because I don't do the MCing anymore because I'm so busy with this foundation, but when I used to do it, one of the greatest things was that I got to see so many people across the country because I went to almost every track. And when you do that, you get to talk to people about kind of your vision and what you see, and at first they kind of like stare at you with this like blank stare, like, who is this guy? And then when they get to know you and like realize that you're not really like a faker, you're not just talking, you walk the walk as well, they realize like, wow, this guy truly gets what he wants in life. And that's, I think, the biggest thing is that, you know, I rode my bicycle across the country in 2007, and that, you know, since I finished that in 2007, I've told people that I've been retired, and that's when I was 25 years old. And the reason why I say that is because everything that I've done since the beginning of that bike ride, I have absolutely loved in my life, work-wise, whether it's with Foundation, volunteering my time, or doing MC work. I absolutely love it. So it's easy to say that, like, I'm retired. Yes, I still work. I still work a lot of hours, but it doesn't feel like work to me. And, you know, I try to live by our two models from the Foundation, which is be bigger than yourself. And really what that means is to look beyond you. You know, so many people, they look at life and they're like, how can I make my life better? What can I do to make my life better? And what they don't realize is that the best way to make your life better is to make other life better. If you go around trying to help the world, whether it's doing some crazy adventure or just smiling at someone on the sidewalk because you don't know what they're going through, you're going to make their life better. And I'm telling you, if you focus on that, it's going to come back around in full circle. I give as much love as I can to different communities and causes around the world, and I get this a massive amount of love back. And it's just like I can't ever match the love that comes back to me. So by me dedicating my life to helping others, and don't worry, I still, you know, want to make sure that I'm in a happy place. But this is my happy place. You know, when I'm doing this kind of stuff, it's my happy place. So be bigger than yourself, and then the other model is to live your life. And like I've done the 9 to 5. I did the factory work when I was in my younger 20s, and there's nothing wrong with it. It wasn't for me. I wasn't happy from it. So when I started going out there and be like, you know what, this does sound crazy. Riding my bike across the country, it sounds absolutely nuts, but I'm going to do it. Running across the country sounds nuts, but I'm living my life, and I'm going to do it whether or not, you know, other people agree with it or stand behind me. And by living my life, I've just been able to experience so many things in 32 years of my life, you know, I've been to all 50 states and I don't know how many countries, and just being able to meet these people around the world that see the same kind of vision and want to help each other out and share the love and stuff. And we're starting to see that more and more at some of our More Than Just Me events, where people are starting to come there and realize, like, wow, this foundation is serious. Like, they really want to just hug everyone and, you know, like, show people what they can do with their lives and motivate them to pursue their dreams.
Now, I got Morgan in the studio. Are you still there?
Yeah, okay, man.
All right. This is the first time I've got the opportunity to meet you. Tell us a little bit about you and maybe what your role is with More Than Just Me, and a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Morgan. I'm 24 years old. I was born with cystic fibrosis and diagnosed at 2 months old. How I came to be a part of More Than Just Me was I had a really good friend. His name was Wesley, and he also had CF. Wes had a double lung transplant and was doing absolutely amazing. And he was following Tommy on his More Than Just Miles run. And, you know, I didn't know who Tommy was at the time or anything like that. But about 2 years after his transplant, Wes's lungs started rejecting. And when your lungs reject, sometimes you can catch them. There's a lot of treatments you can do to try to reverse the effects, but they wasn't able to catch his in time. And so his lungs just completely made his whole body shut down. And he passed away on December 4th of 2012. And I was in the hospital at the time due to cystic fibrosis. I was getting antibiotic treatment. And they gave me a choice, you know, get out of the hospital for his receiving a friend or for his funeral. I couldn't get out for both. So that night, after his receiving a friend, I got a bunch of text messages that said Tommy Danger came to Wes's, you know, receiving a friend and everything. And I had no clue who that was. So I Googled him, and I saw what he was doing for CF.
pretty much brothers, just over Facebook talking alone. And so we went down whenever he finished his run across the country, ran the last mile with him in Daytona, Florida. And then after he turned More Than Just Miles into the full-on foundation of More Than Just Me, eventually he asked me to come on, and been kind of moving forward ever since.
Now, I know that, Tommy, you climbed 4 of the 7 summits of the world. Morgan, have you been there to do any of those as well?
No, I haven't climbed any of the 7 summits or anything. I don't think my lungs would let me do that.
Got you. Tommy, what's that been like for you? One, what's the obstacles been like with everything going on around the world? How difficult has it been to get to these different places? And 2, how's it been physically doing it? And 3, when is it time for the next one?
As for traveling around, it hasn't been too difficult. Our first mountain that we did was in Africa, and I've been to Africa a couple times. I kind of knew my way around Tanzania and Kenya. So luckily I had some friends over there that even could help us out with. That was a fairly easy mountain. And then after that, we went to Russia. And at the time, it was around when that whole thing was going on with them in Ukraine, where there was bombings or shooting down planes and stuff like that. So a lot of my friends and family were a little scared about that and kind of sketched out. But to be honest with you, when we went over there, we were welcomed with, like, open arms. And all the people, at least, that we came across were extremely helpful. And you have to realize that I knew, like, 2 words in Russian. And, like, they don't know any English for the most part over there. So the whole, like, ordering food is just pointing at something on a menu and you hope you can eat it. But it was absolutely amazing over there. Great people, super helpful. After that, we headed down to Argentina, and my Spanish is pretty decent where I can get around Spanish-speaking countries. So that wasn't too difficult as well. Flew into Chile, took a 8-hour bus over to Argentina where we needed to go, climbed the mountain, got out there. And, of course, this last one was up here in Alaska, which is my home state. So getting there and getting back was fairly simple. The obstacles physically, each mountain is very different. Kilimanjaro's is 19,000 feet, but it's not technical in any way. It's just a long hike. Elbrus was a one-day, but very strenuous, very cold, difficult summit day, where you have to start early in the morning. And one of our climbers was coming down with hypothermia just from taking his gloves off for a second to take a photo. Then we had Argentina, which kind of exposed us to longer hiking. And then it took us 12 days for that mountain to climb that mountain and come off of it. And that's when we really got to experience and see that these mountains are serious business, as our photographer and videographer came down with HACE, which is high-altitude cerebral edema, meaning that his brain was actually starting to swell because of the altitude. When that happens, a lot of things can happen, but what was happening with him, he didn't really know who he was, where he was, kind of thing. So when you're on the side of a mountain, you have to kind of take those people in to make sure they don't take the wrong step and don't come back. We got him back down to high camp. And that so far is the tallest mountain we've climbed, which is just under 23,000 feet. We got him back down to high camp. Then we eventually got down to base camp the next day and got off the mountain. He's doing fine and everything like that. Matter of fact, he was on Denali with us this last mountain. And then Denali was a whole new animal. We're talking avalanches, crevasses that drop thousands of feet, whiteout, extreme winds, extreme low temperatures, and like all of those. I mean, you really got to understand it, because as soon as you fly on this little bush plane to a glacier at 7,200 feet and you land on a glacier, you get off and then you pack your sled and you pack your pack and you start hiking. But as we get off the plane, we start packing, and then we see just down the inlet like this massive avalanche going and just turning everything white. So we knew at that point that we had to take that mountain very seriously. And then when you get higher, you know, if you watch some of our teasers on our website I was telling you about, you see some of the stuff that we try to explain through words, but you just can't really explain it. Like when we're on a summit ridge at 20,000 feet, and you're walking across the cornice, which is pretty much snow that could break away at any point, and then you're in the middle of an avalanche falling 4,000 feet. you're crossing that, and on top of all that, you're on just this little ridge, and you got 40 to 50 mile an hour winds trying to shove you off the mountain. So it was pretty intense, but we made it happen. And for the most part, 3 or 4 of us summited on this last mountain, and it was insanely beautiful. We've had amazing weather for all the mountains. I don't understand, I don't know if it's the good karma or what it is, but we've had really great weather for the 4 mountains. And the next mountain that we climb isn't till December, and that's in Australia, which is a very simple climb. We're talking 7,000 feet, but it is the highest point on Australia's continent. So we're going to go over there. We're going to try to see if we can't get some people with cystic fibrosis from the States and in Australia to climb with us, since it's a lower elevation. Because when you have cystic fibrosis, one of the reasons why we're doing this climb is the higher you get, the harder it is to breathe, because there's not as much oxygen. With cystic fibrosis, a lot of CFers have a range of from 20 to 95% lung function. Right now, I think Morgan's around 85 to 90, which is very, very high. One of our membership manager, Matt, his I believe is around 60%. So, some of these peaks that we climb up to, we have 60% oxygen, meaning that we have the same oxygen that Matt has at sea level. So they're living that life every single day, while we only have to experience when we're at the high altitude. So hopefully everything goes well. We land in Australia in December, and then after that, it really depends on what kind of sponsors we get on board to finish some of the expensive peaks, like Everest, of course, and then heading down to Antarctica to climb Vincent Massey.
This week's been a couple questions. These are directed towards Morgan. What have you benefited from being involved with more than just me? And also, what is your role with Morgan?
Oh, man, I don't even know if I can put into words what I have benefited from being a part of this foundation. Just, whenever we host our 5Ks and host our events, we have so many people with CF who come to our event, and just to see them, that bond that everyone has. And this past 5K, we had 50 people with cystic fibrosis show up to our 5K, and just to see the love and the understanding. Just you finally, these people have went all their lives a lot of them without knowing someone else with cystic fibrosis. So they come down to our event, and it's just flooded with all these people to where, if you cough or any of the gross stuff that goes along with having an illness, it's just nothing, because we all have it, and we're all the same. So just being able to see that and being able just to help change the world and all these different aspects, whether it be cystic fibrosis or pediatric cancer or helping the homeless, it's probably one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in my life.
That's definitely cool. It's great to be able to be part of something that is more than just you, and get to build these relationships and help other people as well as yourself. Be able to, kind of relate and help yourself. And I'm sure that, be able to help others to kind of take your focus off maybe more into and more on the focus on what is going on with everybody else, and just be able to get involved. I'm sure that it's got its rewarding within itself.
Oh, yeah, it's so rewarding, because with me, cystic fibrosis has always been, it's a big deal to me, obviously, but I have been one of the people that have been lucky enough, just thanks to staying on my treatment and just my luck of the draw, because really that's how CF is, because you can have one person with cystic fibrosis that does the exact same treatment and the exact same regimen, takes the same amount of pills, and you'll have one person that has 90% lung function, and then you'll have the next that could be on the lung transplant list. So I have been fortunate enough to have these high lung functions and be able to do these things. So for me, I want to help these other people, because to me, I'll be fine. I'm not really worried about myself. But seeing all these other people with cystic fibrosis and being able to help them and just help them, get an understanding that they're not alone, or these parents who have lost children with cystic fibrosis, to bring them in and kind of show them that,
it's okay, and introduce them to other parents, other parents who have had children with cystic fibrosis. It's just, it can be definitely overwhelming at times.
Just a few questions for our peer sport economy. One, when is the next, and I know you said the next mountain you guys are climbing for December, what is the next actual event that you guys have going on? And then also, what is the help or get involved?
Did you say when is the next event?
Yeah, the next, I say event, but you guys just had more than just miles you guys ran down in Florida. When is the next fundraising kind of event that you guys have going on, and then also how do people help or get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Our next big event is actually our More Than Just Art show. Last year we hosted it in Atlanta, but we actually moved it up to Charlotte. We have a huge following in the North Carolina area, and we wanted to be able to give, kind of just a closer event to some of those people. So we moved it up to Charlotte. We haven't set an exact date, but think late November for that to happen. And it's going to be at Heist Brewery, too. So a nice, cool brewery with amazing food, great beer, awesome art from around the world. Last year we had so many artists and pieces in. So it was really cool to be able to see kind of like all this different art from like these extreme people, like artists that sell their pieces for thousands of dollars to, the little 8-year-old that just wants to help raise money kind of thing. So how people can help, though, is just to get involved, and, they can reach out to us via social media and the website and say, hey, I'd like to volunteer at the event, or, I love what you guys are doing with the foundation. I'd love to be like a brand ambassador. And pretty much what a brand ambassador does is just help us spread the word about our causes and about more than just me. Or if there's people out there that's after listening to Morgan, I would love to be staff, and we have an internship program that we're bringing a couple new interns on, because I believe you asked before what's Morgan's role, and Morgan, when he first came on board, was to run social media. So he did a ton of social media, running the Facebook and some of the Twitter and Instagram and that kind of thing. But Morgan has grown with the foundation, and since we've grown, I had to kind of bring him into a more important role. So he's our director of operations, and we literally just promoted one of our interns to social media director. So kind of Morgan looks over all of our staff and a lot of the operations that's going on as well. And what's kind of cool about that is when you contact us and stuff, Morgan's going to be the one that's kind of hey, you're interested in this. We're looking for people that want to help out in these kind of aspects. But as for our event, one of the biggest things that we need to be telling people about is the art show, because it's going to be so much fun. We're lining up so many things, some new ideas, and some amazing new artists have already jumped on board donating art. We're going to have certain walls, like an adventure wall, where a bunch of different adventure art will be there. And what's cool about it is all this art is completely donated 100%. So all the money raised from the auction goes to the More Than Just Me Foundation, which allows us to help with our causes, whether that's sending gifts to people in hospitals, helping homeless eat breakfast or get warm clothes, we send all kind of school supplies and stuff for orphans and whatnot. We also have helped feed a lot of orphanages. So, it's just so much that we do just with people coming together. And, with all the listeners that you guys have on board, if anybody wants to come down, Charlotte, of course, is a beautiful city. Come down, have a little fun with us for a couple of days. Let's set up and have fun at the art show as well.
When you guys get a date, definitely let me know. I'm only about an hour and a half from Charlotte, so I definitely want to come down and at least be down there for one of the days and be able to see you again face to face. It's been almost 2 years at this point, so definitely want to make that happen. Also, I want you to stay in touch with this league. You know how it is, where everything kind of came together, everything was kind of chaos on and helping sponsor for the run that you guys had.
it was just more miscommunication on my end. I just wasn't getting my emails. Now that we have formed our LLC and everything's starting to be a little bit more organized at our end, I definitely want to get more involved. You got a lot of people come on the show and kind of talk about their charities and this, that, and the other, but you're one of the few that have come back and come back and come back, and I greatly appreciate not only what you do, but the fact that you come back on the show, and we've been able to stay connected ever since the Bristol experience. So I definitely like to get more involved with you guys, just outside of what you're doing, just because I feel it's more of a personal thing versus, like I said, just someone coming on, sending an email asking for something, and not that you guys have ever asked for anything, but I like being involved. One of the very first charities I ever was involved with, I was an ROTC in high school, and we climbed, I forget how many flights of stairs it was, but every flight you went up to have people donate a certain amount of money, and it went to cystic fibrosis. That's what the charity or the stair climbing event was for. So it's one of those things that I've been involved with ever since high school. And like I said, if you're everyone's been, we try to stay highly involved with a bunch of different things. So this is definitely one of those things I want to kind of stay more involved with and locked in with. Ms. Lee wants me to make sure that I get more than social media information as well as anything that you want to put out there. Once again, Tommy, it would be social media, point them to the direction of the site, anything that will help you guys draw, someone that might be interested in helping out there, or, want to help share social media-wise or site-wise or anything to help bring maybe someone that they know to your guys' direction. So both you guys go ahead and post what you guys would like to put.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things that you were just kind of talking about with the sponsorship with 5K, it's the same thing with the art show. We're looking for sponsors, like companies, small businesses and stuff. Of course, we're always looking for a title sponsor, but we're always looking for people that, our sponsorship for the art show is $200 this year, just to kind of help take care of, like, when people walk in, it's all taken care of, instead of, like, walk in and you got to buy your own food. Like, we want to have the appetizers there. We want to be able to give beer tickets out if people want to drink. We want to be able to give raffle tickets out. So we're always looking for event sponsors. You can, like I said, definitely follow us. Anyone that's listening, if you want to see, when we go climb these mountains, we have a professional videographer and photographer for Med-Type Productions with us. So we get top-of-line images and video, and it's just beautiful to watch. You kind of see what we go through as we're on these mountains. So go to our website, ntjm.org. You can go to our social media, which is whatever, facebook.com/mtjme. There's a little E on the end. Or twitter.com/mtjme. Same with Instagram. You can see our photos. You can see what our new promoted intern is working on as well. On top of that, we have this run for July. So just to kind of push that really quick, all you have to do is get the Nike Run app on your phone, and friend Morgan, which you'll get the info from him, friend Morgan Grindstaff on the Nike running app, and then whoever ends up getting the most mileage, whether you're hiking, running, or walking, on the July, we have a brand new pair of Steel Optic sunglasses. We also have tank tops up for grabs. We're going to have all kinds of goodies. There's going to be a bunch of little bonuses and stuff, and this is all just rad gear. Some of our amazing product sponsors already.
Morgan, you still there? Yeah. Go ahead. Social media, everything you want to plug as well. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me just about anything, the best way to reach me is morgan@mtjm.org. That's kind of all of our. If you go on our website and click on our story, you'll see the entire staff there, and all of our emails will be our first name and then @mtjm.org. That's the best way to reach us. And you can also add me on Facebook if you want. Just look up Morgan Grindstaff. I'm always open to talk to anybody, whether it be a parent, someone with CF, a person with CF, or anybody who's just getting involved with the foundation. Feel free to reach out if you want to. That's kind of what we're about. We'll never be that foundation that gets too big for people. That we have just the people applying for us. We will always be on the ground with everyone, face to face, personable because, that's what we believe in, changing the world and not becoming this big empire corporation or anything. We always want to be, in the trenches with these people, with these families, to help them in any way we can and always be available to talk whenever they need it.
I want to thank both of y'all, not only for coming on the show tonight, but for everything you guys do. Like I said before you guys take them on, see today, it's very rare for us.
And as you guys can see, why
everything you guys do.
I used that for my last best of 2015. Great foundation. If you guys never heard of it before, this best of, make sure you guys check them out, ntjm.org. They do a lot of great things, have a great relationship with those guys. I always look forward to having them back on the show. So make sure you guys check them out. We got about 15 minutes left. And we officially wrap up 2015 here at the 110 Nation. It's crazy. Crazy talk, I tell you. We got 2 NFL picks, and then we're going to make our way out of the studio. Like I said, Monday morning, back at it. 110 Nation Morning Show officially back on the air. Kicks off at 9 a.m. The 110 Nation Morning Show every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Also, you can catch the 110 Nation Sports Show every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. You got Racing with Big Sweat Thursday nights at 9 p.m. And then, of course, you got Midwest Horsepower Hour Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Make sure you check that out. You can check out our website, www.the110nation.com. You can check out the blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Follow me at CJ Sports1, the 110 Nation, at 110 Nation. Also, check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, or the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. First game on the list, Washington versus Dallas. Interesting game, and for the fact that Jay Gruden and the Washington Redskins got to do something that they're not used to doing, and that is deciding whether or not you continue working on improving your team, do you continue working on the momentum going into the playoffs, or do you rest your players because you've already locked your spot into the playoffs and you're not going to advance up or down, or do you do both? So it looks like the Washington Redskins at this point are going to try to do both, get some valuable play time so that there's no rust, and work on improving a few things, but at the same time, they are going to be resting some players. So not something the Washington Redskins are normally used to, which obviously a lot of these games it's going to be difficult to pick because you just don't know. And Washington, Dallas, I'm going to go with Dallas at home, just for the fact that I know that Washington starters are not going to play this whole game, and Dallas is going to play. They want some kind of dignity at home against their NFC East rivals. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to actually win one more game this year, and Dallas is going to go into the playoffs with an 8-8 record. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Pittsburgh needs a lot of help in order to get into the playoffs. Well, not really. They just need the Jets to lose, and they need to win. Well, you got the Jets playing the Buffalo Bills, Rex Ryan-led Buffalo Bills, and then you got Pittsburgh playing the Cleveland Browns. Well, luckily for your end, the Cleveland Browns, my Cleveland Browns, so I can say this, suck. Looks like GM and coach are probably be out. A lot of issues still with Johnny Manziel. Really, still no direction. And they've been looking for direction since like 2000 or 2002, whenever they came back. 2000. So Steelers, no doubt in my mind, are going to win. They got to, regardless what the Jets do. It's not like it's an afternoon game, and we can play based off of what the Jets do. They'll be playing the same time the Jets are playing, so they have no choice but to be all in and hope for the best. I have the Steelers winning over the Cleveland Browns. Baltimore, Cincinnati. Obviously, Cincinnati is going to want to continue playing well to keep their playoff hopes, not playoff hopes, but where they're going to be sitting seed-wise in the AFC. As they said, it was a 12-3 record. Cincinnati was 11-4, and then Houston Denver 11-4 and Kansas City 11-4. I mean, obviously with the Denver loss, Cincinnati win, it automatically keeps them in the second spot. So Cincinnati has a reason to play. They play a Baltimore team that found out that, yes, Steven Smith Jr. Or Sr. is going to be coming back next year. He decided he was not going out and retiring the way that an injury looked like it was going to make him happen. So Baltimore did get some good news. That's about the only good news they're going to get this week. I have Cincinnati winning pretty commandedly over the Baltimore Ravens. Detroit and Chicago, two teams that are really playing for nothing other than a little bit of NFC North pride. 6-9 and 69, 6-9 and 69, 69. One of you got to finish in last place, and one of y'all gets to have the bragging rights of at least not being in last place. I'm going to bet that the Chicago Bears are going to win at home. Two teams that have been up and down a lot this year. Different points. It looked like they finally fixed what they had to fix and was going to go in the right direction. Then all of a sudden they just go back in the other direction and continue to lose games. But I have the Chicago Bears at home over the Detroit Lions. Jets and Buffalo. As much as I would rather see the the Pittsburgh Steelers in the playoffs versus and it's really weird because I hate the Steelers with a passion, being a Cleveland Browns fan, I would rather see the Steelers in the playoffs than the Jets. I want to see a competitive team, and the Jets are not competitive. They're not going to. In comparison to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, or even the New England Patriots, believe what you want to believe on why the Patriots did what they did. I just don't see come playoff team the Jets being really that competitive. The Steelers is the only team right now I feel that gives New England a run for the money. And so with that being said, as much as I would like to see the Jets lose and the Steelers win, Buffalo's got enough issues to worry about. Winning this game this weekend is not one of them. I have the Jets going into Buffalo and winning. Saints in Atlanta. I tell you what, Atlanta really stirred the pot with that win over the Carolina Panthers. Putting themselves at 8-7. No shot for a playoff, but 8-7. Can finish the season on a high note, finish 9-7, which I think they will do. I think after the win against Carolina, another home game, momentum's going great. I think that Atlanta's going to finish the season off on a high note. Philadelphia and the Giants at home for the Giants. Chip Kelly gone, the uncertainty of Sam Bradford. DeMarco Murray's never really fit into the system. Giants win easily over the Philadelphia Eagles. New England, Miami. Obviously, New England wants to secure their opportunity of having everything handed to them the first on the way to the Super Bowl. I have New England going into Miami and being victorious. Miami, we'll see what happens next year with the coaching change, or whether or not they're going to keep their intern coach. But they will finish the season 5-11, not what they were hoping for, not what I was expecting. With the way they've been rebuilding this team and the way they performed over the last couple of years, we was really expecting a lot more out of this Miami Dolphins team. Jacksonville and Houston. Houston controls their own destiny. Not only do they control their own destiny, they are home against the 5-10 Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, I don't know, 2-3 years out from now, might have this division, might at least be a wild card. They're starting to show some lines. This is much better than the product we've seen for a while. So I do applaud Jacksonville going into the last game of the season with a 5-10 record. And I know 5-10 record, and you're applauding them, but compared to some of the Jacksonville teams we've seen as of late, 5-10, well, going to go 5-11 for the season is definitely a step up. Houston controls their own destiny, like I said, and Houston will control their own destiny. They will win at home over Jacksonville. Tennessee and Indianapolis. Obviously, Indianapolis is going to be all in because they can't take a chance that Houston does lose this game. So I will pick the Indianapolis Colts over the Tennessee Titans. But I think it'll be a close game, and it's really not going to make a difference who wins the game because Houston is going to go on and take that division. Then Diego and Denver. Obviously, Denver's got something to play for. Denver needs this win to take the division. If not, Kansas City could take this division. So, therefore, Denver's going to play at the purpose. Osweiler is going to lead the Denver Broncos over Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers, as they've made Peyton Manning the backup quarterback at this point. And I honestly think that we're going to see a couple impressive games out of Osweiler, and we are starting to now see the future of the Denver Broncos, and we're going to officially call the move to bring the Peyton Manning in and go for a championship now versus worrying about building your team for the future. We can call that a bust, as they will not have a Super Bowl title under a Peyton Manning-led Denver Bronco team. Osweiler and the Broncos not Super Bowl bound this year. I would be shocked, but they will make a good run for it and give them something to look forward to next year. Tampa Bay, Carolina. Carolina still got to play. Carolina still got to play with purpose, just for the fact that if they lose and Arizona wins, Arizona has home field throughout. They are playing for the 1 seed, 2 seed. It's cool that we actually get some things and some reasons for these teams to play. Because there's nothing worse than be sitting here and watching all meaningless games. I mean, right now, so far, we got the Washington game, which is meaningless. You got the Steeler game, though it does have a purpose, whether or not they're getting the players or not. The Cincinnati game, a purpose, because they dictate what seat they're going to get in the playoffs. Detroit, Chicago, meaningless game. Jets and Buffalo, Jets win, they're in, so that is a meaningful game. Saints and Atlanta, meaningless. Giants, Philadelphia, meaningless. New England. New England and Miami, obviously a meaningful game. Jacksonville and Houston, obviously a meaningful game. Tennessee and Indianapolis, obviously a meaningful game. San Diego and Denver, obviously a meaningful game. Tampa Bay and Carolina, a meaningful game. St. Louis, San Francisco, the next meaningful, if I didn't say, Carolina's going to win the game. They have to play the purpose because they need Arizona. They want to have home field throughout, but I have them winning regardless. Obviously, I thought at 14-0 they were going to finish the season up 16-0 before they actually had to play somebody and would lose. But, yeah. St. Louis and San Francisco, meaningless game. A game that I think St. Louis will go into San Francisco and win, at least finish 8-8, and at least have a respectful finish to their season. Seattle, it was on fun, just one game behind Seattle with that. Seattle, even though they're locked into the playoffs, and I don't know if their win would really advance them any or not. It don't matter. Arizona at home is playing with a purpose. They're wanting to, and that's what's great about the timing of this game, because earlier games, when you had the Steelers and the Jets playing, they were both playing at 1 o'clock, so they both had to play meaningful because, you know, if not, then if one was a 1 and one was a 4, then it might not make a difference at the 4 o'clock game and make it not as good a quality of a game. The same thing with this, with the Carolina-Arizona game, both being 4 o'clock games or 4:25 games, better yet. Both of them have to play to a high level. And so obviously they're going to play at a high level. I have Arizona winning over Seattle. Oakland goes into Kansas City. I have Kansas City winning another meaningful game. As Kansas City can take this division or just be a wild card. And then last game of the night and last game of the season, Minnesota and Green Bay, obviously playing for the division. One takes the division, one takes the wild card. Kind of the same scenario. I have Green Bay at home. I'm looking at about 10 games that actually have a purpose in Week 17. And it would be for teams to get into the playoffs or the way that teams will get seeded in the playoffs. Don't ask for much better than that. It doesn't get much better than that. There's nothing worse than having a bunch of games scheduled for the last Sunday of the year and nothing matters. Over half the games actually matter in Week 17 of the NFL. And I know there's people out there, when we talk about having a 16-game playoff system for the 16-game playoff system for the 16-team playoff system. I'm sorry, for the NCAA. Well, that would change the meaning of the playoffs and the meaning of the regular season. No, well, look what we got going on right here. 10 of the 16 games, at least 8, but if I count right, 10 games that have meaning and a purpose behind the whole regular season, why they are going into Week 17, the Week 17 game, and then obviously the playoffs are not going to change anything. So that kind of throws that theory out there. I hope that you guys enjoyed all the best of 2015 that I brought to you guys and the moments that we relived back in we relived this last 2 weeks going back in through 2015. It was very fun and very exciting, and I was glad I had the opportunity to do that. Looking forward to Monday, kicking off 2016, officially here at the 110 Nation. Get back onto the morning show, get back onto having live shows, full live 2-hour shows and live guests and everything else. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to building our listenership over there at the I-95 Sports Network. Very excited that we got to finish the year off with these guys, and then we get to kick 2016 off with them. Looking forward to building a great relationship with them. I've got to make sure that I thank everybody that has tuned into the show up to this point, and more specifically since we're farewelling 2015. I want to make sure that I thank everybody that's tuned in to 2015. Has become a fan and a listener. It's followed us like this. I got to thank you. All the great guests that we've had, and we've had a crap ton. Like the last 2 weeks, the best of them. We've had 2 and 3 a show. We've not even begun to scratch the surface of the guests we've had on the show this year. Those ones I just randomly went through or had purpose behind that I went through. So I got to thank all those. Got to thank the staff. I got to thank Miss Lee. Without her, I do not know where we would be. She has kept me on par and focused and scheduled. I've got to thank her. I got to thank Chris Creighton over at Yellow Caution Flag for his assistance, our friendship, our merger, him help us find writers and the new show that we have on Sunday nights. Got to thank Steve Billmeyer for hosting Racing with Big Sweat, the great guests he's had on the show. Looking forward to 2016, bringing Sam Edwards on back to the 110 Nation, back on that show. Got to thank Shorty. A lot of these trips, a lot of all the stuff that has happened, it is because of her. If not for her, I would have not made the Homestead trip. I would have not made the Kentucky trip. There's a lot of things and a lot of things financially that we do here, and I only go into the details of the kind of money we got to spend to do this operation, but it's because of her, and I got to make sure that I thank her. Got to thank Danny and Bean. He's the new host over on Midwest Horsepower Hour. Coming up on his second show for joining us. I got to thank Bob for joining us. He's been writing articles over there on www.the110nationsports.com. Izzo for coming on every Tuesday to talk NHL. Patrick Taylor, who was coming on about an hour and a half a week talking NFL. All these people, I want to make sure that they help make 2015 the year that we've got to have. And I got to be thankful for all those. And this is the last official, the best of 2015. This is officially our wrap on 2015. Monday morning, clean slate, new beginning, ready to get focused and start working on some of the goals we have for 2016, and looking forward to expanding, continue to grow, and be that company and hit those goals that we're looking to hit. So thank everybody for making 2015 a fun, eventful year, and looking forward to talking to you all in 2016.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110Nation and on Facebook at 110Nation Sports. Until next time.
It's gripping at every turn. Because one of the most popular ultra-high performance tires ever to hit the street is ready to tear it up like never before. With a whole new level of traction, stability, and braking performance, whether wet or dry. Step up to the all-new Nitto 555 G2. Check it out at nittotire.com. It's what's next.